Yeah, the screen. Cool. Thank you. So open campaigning. Where the concept comes from, it comes from the 7 shifts. Please have some sort of reaction if you know what 7 shifts are. It's a pretty old concept, so I hope that a lot of people have heard about this, but this is essentially 7 things, 7 changes that Greenpeace has to go through in order to be a new, evolved and hip and modern Greenpeace. And so a lot of it is connected essentially to the concept of open campaigns, from going from secretive, which is our old ways, to open source, and also being from lone hero to be as the Greenpeace as a superstar to hero among heroes, which means uplifting and creating people around you, and going from supporters to change agents, meaning that we empower people who work with us. So from these changes, we can go to see the open campaigning. So what is open campaigning? It is involvement of others in the design life cycle of our campaigns. By others, we mean everyone, possibly. So the partners, other NGOs, movements, Greenpeace supporters, donors, volunteers, anyone basically other than staff. Anyone other than staff is great. We should involve them more in all of the process of the campaign. And I mean, from design points, so from the thought, going for the campaign to the last end of whatever action that we do. Having more people involved in the campaigns is the idea for this. There are a few ways that the campaign could be open, and you can see there the 4 of them. It's empowering, so we are like more of a coaching, so we make sure, so we make sure that the people who are doing something, that we help them. Leading is taking the leadership in designing and implementing, but investing in others to contribute on all of the stages of the campaign. Collaboration is co-creation with the peers, hero amongst hero. So this is like a collection of actors, of equal actors, essentially creating a campaign. And listening and learning, also a way to be open, is just to understand our limitations and make sure that we listen to others who have any sort of input on our campaigns. So these are the so there is no definite way to be open. There's no definite one way to do that. And this is something that is designed by it's like a radio, you know, so with these things that go more or less sort of like this. So these are 6 definitions, 6 of ways to be more open in a campaign, at least which was identified by the people. So here is the who campaign is initiated by, and we're trying to move from staff to people. So we really campaign on something that is interesting for people, something that is important to them, rather than something that is decided by the staff. The access to make contribution to a project strategy or design. It used to be that people could just read, or people could just be informed about the strategy, But in the open campaigning, it's leaning more to the writing, so it means that people can meaningfully contribute and offer their ideas to the core, to the strategy of the campaign. Decision making goes from centralized to distributed, which means that it's not just one campaigner or one project lead or one project is deciding, but rather than it is possible to have more agency for the people to have on the decision making. Diversity of activities, so we're leaning towards more creative, so that means that people have sort of room to decide in the frame of the one campaign how exactly and what exactly they could do, so they could be a bit more creative and in that regard, and maybe think of better things that we would initially do. Acting as individuals, acting as a network rather than individuals, it means that we it's not that we are reaching out only to the individual people around us, but rather than to a network. So it means that we are investing in making sure that people can connect with each other and work on the project or in a campaign with each other. And a duration of campaign going from a moment to a sustained. So if more people are working on a campaign, more people that are involved in this particular campaign, it is possible to have a prolonged campaign on something rather than do a push and then abandon this and go on. So this is true for the open campaigns, that all of the 4 ways of doing open campaigning that I mentioned. But there are ways to in which ControlShift comes to this, right? And here are the few things that's how ControlShift is tied to all of these 6 dimensions. For each of the 6 dimensions, I came up with a guiding question, sort of, what can you do? What can you ask yourself? How you can make your campaign more open in that sense? And this is what I'm trying to sort of tell all the people who are interested in open campaigning. And in blue, there is something that is how you connect ControlShift to it. And essentially for the audience and for making sure that the campaign comes from the hearts of the people rather than thoughts of Greenpeace, it's just a ControlShift is a direct place where you can see which topic, which issues matter to people enough that they start doing something about it. So if you see there is a great source of inspiration, even for just a Greenpeace campaign or for a joint campaign or whatever. This is an important part to see the wisdom of the people. Second is what we can do to enable the people to influence the campaign strategy. If we're talking about, for example, the collaboration, we can do partnership campaigns on ControlShift. I know that a few NROs already do it. It could be joint campaigns, whatever. So this is just a way to facilitate, essentially, if you decide to do a campaign with some other actors. ControlShift is a great place to do that because it offers tools for that. How we can do and what we can do to enable people to choose how they're going to achieve the ways to reach the campaign goals. For example, we use efforts feature. There's a wider campaign goal and a frame, but a multitude of targets, ways to influence them. This could be, we could add events and whatever, so we could really offer a variety of things that could be different from one group or from one location to another. So this is, I think, a way to facilitate that. How we can leave the room for creativity. Again, efforts, email to target. People can customize their appeals to the targets. They can customize their emails. So that's also a way to be a bit more creative. How we can help people find each other to do things together. ideally, ControlShift can facilitate events and have a map for people to find each other. And the campaign creators, all the campaign. So there's also an issue of how we can help people to develop the ideas, and all of the help that we provide to the campaign starters. This is our way to develop their ideas, and our way to do campaigns in a more open way, and how we can help people long-term dedication to the campaign. I mean, if people are interested in it, we can keep the campaign going. There's no time limitations on the ControlShift. I know campaigns that have been successful, that's been going on for a year or two. It's still there, and there's no problems for us to keep the momentum going. And the storytelling, that's one last thing that I'm gonna share with you here. Storytelling is super important for the open campaigns, because if you have a variety of targets, if you have a variety of things going on, it's always important to tell a story of how it's all tied together, because that's I think the power of open campaign, and making sure that all of the little and different and maybe not cohesive, not unified things are tied together. So we are telling a story of how the campaign works. And example of the importance of the storytelling of the open campaign is, for example, the Global Divestment Day, where a multitude of targets were there. A multitude of campaign tactics were there. There were a lot of toolkits, so people were choosing their targets, choosing their tactics. There was a map, a variety of stories, how it all helps one goal to divest from fossil fuels. And for example, ControlShift offers the same functionality, so it could be facilitated by using the efforts. You can tell a story easily from one sort of from one page. Essentially, you can tell and share how how the story ties together here. There is a bit more here on the, for example, here it's important to note that the only open tactics, so something that, for example, if you leave the creativity to the people, it's not in essence a truly open campaign. So really people need to be able to influence the campaign strategy. But that being said, open tactics is super important as well. So if there's something there, it's good to have. There is, I'm not gonna put too much effort on it, but there are possible metrics how to evaluate open campaign. That's also very important. You can take a look. That's the possibility to do that. A few things about the coalition. So it's not directly related, but it's important when you work with others. So there are a bit of what to do and what not to do. And I think a lot of you who already worked on campaigns together with other organizations are quite knowledgeable with the dynamics and what's is important to do and what's not, and what you shouldn't do. And for example, there's always a sensitive issue of fundraising or sensitive issues of list building. So this is something that should be connected and should be discussed with your partner. What open campaigns look like is the campaigns led by volunteers, open mass actions of civil disobedience. So really open campaign could take a lot of different look in a lot of different ways, and here is some of the examples of how it can be. And to quickly wrap things up and to sort of sum it up, how ControlShift is connected to the open campaigning. It is built to be able to facilitate a multitude of inputs to the campaigns, and that's a really great tool. So you can draw ideas from it, you can work with partners, with coalitions, You can unite a story through the efforts. You can customize the messages to specific people, leave the space for creativity. You can unite people through the groups and events. The fact that it is possible does not mean that it will automatically happen. So this is a tool, not a magic wand. But if you already possess this tool, it's way easier to build open campaigns and to do them because you already have the instruments. So it's important to see the possibilities and offer them to the campaigns. And this is really the sort of way to facilitate the need and the want to be more open in your campaigning strategies. It's either in all of the ways. So it could be Greenpeace campaigns, it could be joint campaigns, it could be just promoting and like the working with the movements. Essentially, that's the all of the things that are possible to do with the ControlShift. And as you see, I've been trying to wrap things up. I'm sorry I was not able to do that in time, but I think that's it for me for our little presentation. Thank you very much.